Hello, I'm Thomas, and in this video I'm going to show you how to install a SteerStopper on a bicycle with a threadless steering system. So first let's take a look at some of the tools you're going to need. You're going to need an assortment of Allen wrenches, some masking tape, and a torque wrench that does inch-pounds and or Newton meters. If you don't have one, don't worry, I will show you a workaround. Next thing you're going to need, of course, is the SteerStopper itself with the double-sided silicone tape, the receiver, the brake application device, and the little Allen wrench that comes with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the brake application device and put it to work right away. And install it on the rear brake. That's going to help stabilize the bike while we work on it. I've also got a click stand holding the bike up, and I've got a bungee through the front wheel to keep things steady. This bike has cable brakes, so the first thing I'm going to do is release the cable from the front brake caliper. Then up at the hanger, I'm going to pull the cable out. So that's all free and clear now. Now, all bikes are different on the headset stack, so you might want to take a picture before you take things apart so you know which pieces go back where on the stack. So now we're ready to start disassembling. The 5mm Allen, I'm going to remove this top cap and the bolt. Set that aside. 5mm Allen for the stem pinch bolts. My brake cable hanger is a 4mm. So now everything is loose on the stack, so we can carefully remove the stem and handlebar assembly and let it hang from the cables. I've got two spacers. I've got another spacer with the accessory attached to it. Cable hanger comes off. I've got a 10mm spacer down here, which is going to be replaced by the SteerStopper. Note that they're both the same thickness, 10mm. So I'm going to take this off and put it in my back pocket so I don't get it mixed up with the other pieces. And I'm going to slide the SteerStopper down, followed by the cable hanger, followed by my spacer with the accessory on it. A couple more spacers. Now we can reinstall the stem and handlebar assembly. I'm going to install the brake cable into the hanger and the cable to the brake. I'm going to get things roughly lined up here. SteerStopper and the cable hanger. Our next step, once everything is back together, it's very critical that the steer tube is lower than the top of the stem. And install the cap and the bolt. Now as we tighten this bolt, what we're doing is we're taking the play out of your steering bearings. As we gently tighten this bolt, we're pulling the bearings together this way to take all the play out. So it just takes a little finesse, a little gentle, snugly tightening the bolt. And the way we can check the preload, I'm going to remove the brake application device. I'm going to hold the front brake, squeeze it tight, and apply pressure to the bike, and I'm going to rock it back and forth. If the bearings are too loose, you're going to feel it clunking up. You're going to feel some clunking or hear clunking in that area. Another way to check is to lift the front of the bike up and make sure that the steering feels free and easy, that it's not binding. And that feels pretty good to me. So I'm going to put my click stand back on, reinstall the bungee cord. So the bearing preload is set. I'm going to get the SteerStopper aligned with the front wheel. I'm going to get the brake cable hanger in the 12 o'clock position. With that, we're ready to start tightening things. I'm going to tighten the cable hanger just gently with torque wrench, I'm going to torque the SteerStopper 30 inch-pounds or 3.4 Newton meters. If you don't have the torque wrench, use a normal Allen wrench. I'm going to loosen this again. So if you don't have a torque wrench, use an Allen wrench, hold it by the short end, get it as tight as you can, then it's 1/8 of a turn beyond that. And that should get you pretty close to 30 inch-pounds. Now everything's lined up, tightened, and torqued. Oh, we've got to remember to do the pinch bolts here. Your stem, most stems will have a torque spec engraved onto them. This one does not, so use the spec if it's there, and if it's not there, use your best judgment to get them snug. Now we're ready to install the receiver. Notice the receiver has tape and a label. That this tape is holding these nuts into place so you don't drop them. I'm just going to back these little screws out. Now we're going to determine where to place that tape. You want to get that ball right in the center. And we're going to mark the position with our masking tape. Now we're going to carefully unwrap the silicone tape. Tape is not sticky to your fingers, but it's very sticky to itself, so carefully peel it off and do not allow it to stick back onto itself. What we want to get here is about 1.5 wraps. The critical thing is that it just this is where you do want it to stick back onto itself. It's very strong, very stretchy. Don't be afraid to stretch it a little bit. What this tape does is it gives really good grip to the receiver, and it also protects your paint. That's why we use it. Now I'm going to slip the two halves of the receiver together and get the bolts started. Carefully turn the bolts into the nuts. Be careful not to cross thread them. Just tighten a little bit on each side to try to get even clamping. Now the two halves of the receiver are not meant to come together. Before I go too far, I want to make sure the ball is still, everything is 12 o'clock on the top tube, the ball is still centered in that direction. This does not take a lot of force, so as we tighten, I'm just going to try to rotate this, and already I cannot rotate it, so that's good, that means it's tight. When you're done, you should have roughly the width of the Allen wrench in between the two halves. That's done. You can remove the masking tape. You can remove the tape that's holding the nuts in place. That's it. Everything is done and your SteerStopper is ready to go. Thank you for watching the video.